This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
We're here in the city of the Baba Sali in Netivot, just to give you some of the historical background and the family lineage. So, the Baba Sali was the son of Rabbeinu Masud. Actually, for those following the Shiurim, in the back of our humble Sefer Al-Kademer Aneni, we have a piyut written by Rabbeinu Masud, Abi Chatzera, the father of the Baba Sali, about the great Tana Rameir Balanes. Rabbeinu Masud was a great Dayan and a great Paitan. He was the son of Abir Yaakov, Rabbi Yaakov Abi Chatzera, that the Baba Sali considered himself the spiritual heir of this great lineage. But the Abi Chatzera family began with Reb Shmuel Abi Chatzera. Legend has it, Abi Chatzera, the father of the mat, because of an incident that happened, that he wasn't able to go on a boat, and he sort of floated on the water with his carpet, Avi Chatzera. Now, the Baba Sali, from the time of his youth, he was dedicated to great Kedusha, feeling the motivation of continuing the spiritual legacy of the Abi Chatzera family. Now, it's very interesting that the Baba Sali came to Eretz Yisrael a number of times. His first trip was at age 31. Now, his father passed away when he was 18 years old, and although everybody knew about his greatness, they were not confident in his ability to give over the shiurim on a high madrega, and therefore, when the Baba Sali began to give shir, he completely astounded the listeners of his command of Kol HaTorah Kula. Aside from the regular Masechtas, which he was a baki in, he was proficient in many different miktzos in Torah. In Hilchos Mila, in Hilchos Shchita, in Hilchos Safras, he wrote a Sefer Torah, completed the entire Sefer Torah, from which he would be Maver Sedra every week. So at age 31, in 1921, he came to Eretz Yisrael for the first time, and he wanted to be Mishtateach on Kivrei Tzadikim, and he came to the Kever of the Arizal, where he spent an entire hour being Mispalel. Now, amazingly, he then asked to be taken to the Beis HaKnesses of the Arizal. And the Rabbi said, "You can't go to the Beis HaKnesses of the Arizal. Nobody's ever made it out alive in a very long time from the Beis HaKnesses of the Arizal." And the Baba Sali insisted that he be given the key, and he goes to the gate of the Kever of the Arizal, of the Shul of the Arizal, and he opens up the door, and nobody was allowed in with him. He told his shamish, "Okay, hold on tight to the back of my galima," and the shamish is following him. And he goes to the Aron Kodesh. He opens up the Aron of the Kever of the Beis HaKnesses of the Ari, and he takes out the Sefer Torah and he reads it at the bima, and the whole shul is Molei Or. And he tells the Rabbi, "Okay, you can let go now. Now everyone could come in. Nothing bad will happen to anyone." And the Baba Sali, so to speak, cleared the path for people to be able to enter the Shul of the Ari. Then in 1951, Baba Sali came again, and he actually this time spent 3 years in Eretz Yisrael. He lived in Baka. But in 1954, he realized that the community of Morocco still needs him. Although some Moroccans already began coming to Eretz Yisrael, he felt that he needed to service the community, and he went back to Morocco until 1964, where he ultimately came to Eretz Yisrael for good. And he was makbid to bring his whole library, all of his svarim. He had many, many svarim, many manuscripts, and he made sure to bring every last item to Eretz Yisrael. So we're here at the Tzion of the Baba Sali. So we'll say one Dvar Torah and this holy Makayim. This is a Dvar Torah that we've said over Barabim, and it's a very meaningful idea. The Baba Sali says on the pasuk in Parshas Koirach that when there was a Magefa and Aaron had to stop the Magefa, so it says, "Vayamoid bein hachayim lebein hamesim." He stood between the living and the dead. And somehow by standing between the living and the dead, he was able to bring an end to the Magefa. What's the deeper meaning of Vayamoid bein hachayim lebein hamesim? He stood between the living and the dead. Says the Baba Sali, he was oimed, he contemplated and established what is the main difference between being alive and being dead. The main difference is thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As we know, V'chol hachayim yoiducha sela. Or we say, Ma betza bidami beridati al shachas. What benefit is there in death? Hayoidecha afar. Could you praise Hashem? Could you thank Hashem if you're not alive? In fact, the Rishonim say the word Chayim is a Rashi Tevis of the 4 people who have to thank Hashem. One who was choyle and was healed, one who crossed the Yam, one who crossed a Midbar. The word Chayim is a Rashi Tevis for the 4 people, or one who was let out of jail. The word Chayim is Rashi Tevis for the 4 people who have to thank Hashem. The definition of life is thanking Hashem. The Medrash says that why are Risha'im called Mesim? Because they see the sun rise and they don't thank Hashem. That's what it means. Vayamoid bein hachayim lebein hamesim. That Aaron understood the difference between Mesim and Chayim is thanking Hashem, and through Hakaras Hatov Hakadosh Baruch Hu, he brought life to all of Klal Yisrael. So in this holy Makam, we could also say, Tzadikim b'misasam nikraim Chayim. May the great neshama of Rabbi Sali Chatzera should be Megan Aleinu v'al Kol Yisrael. Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.